Amy, and in this video I want to get into some of the good stuff, the background, the hard stuff, and what you can expect from the content in this channel. And so this way you get to know me on a more personal level, because that's important, very important to make those human connections. So I do have my notes over on the other side of my screen, so if you see me glancing here, that's what I'm looking at. The goal of this is so that you get to know me on a personal level. So can you relate to this? Can you relate to feeling like you need to reach your potential, or that you want to live the most fulfilling life, the most healthy way you can? That has always been the driving force of my life. So if you're about this kind of life, then you are in the right place. On this channel, I'll talk about how to attract that life that you dream of. My goal is to make this channel fun and spunky and witty, and to not take life so seriously, because that was something that I struggled with, and that's something honestly that I still do. I want this show to feel like we're just hanging out. We're just sitting on the couch, hanging out, and having a good old time talking about all the things, what I call the crazy, beautiful life that we live. In this channel, I want us to feel like we're friends. The best way I feel like I can do this is to really introduce myself in as multifaceted of a way as I can. I have experienced things that people don't experience until they're in their 40s or 50s, and I'll dive into that a little bit later. But what I've learned is that that is a part of my story, and my story is what I take ownership of. And my story is so much more than the struggles that I've overcome. So I have a small outline in terms of keywords that I want to really chat with you about, so that we can really connect on the level that I'm looking for. So like I said, it's just keywords. So whatever comes up after those keywords, I feel is what is meant to come up. And I feel that that's really important too, because I want to live my life as organically and as authentically as I can. And there's no way I can do that if I'm scripted. So I'm going to show up as myself, totally me, unfiltered. And I want to start from the beginning. I want to get into kind of the heart of who I am, the heart of this channel, and what I will be sharing with you. I am the owner and coach of Mint Physique Nutrition LLC, which was created, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, when I was at a different stage in my life and really exploring what it is that was my calling. And that was something that I really struggled with, especially since I needed to take a lot longer than I anticipated with my undergrad degree. And it's always been a part of me to find out what it is that's my calling, so that I can live the limited amount of years that I have to my fullest potential. I always felt like, you know what, we potentially only have this one life, at least as a human. And I want to live that as wholly, as fully me, as authentically, as fulfilled, as full as possible, even through all the ups and downs of life. And so what got me here? What got me to this LLC? Well, of course, like a lot of health coaches, I took an interest in food. And again, like a lot of health coaches, it was because of my own health challenges. So over the years, I've learned that I have a funny amount of ailments. And it wasn't until I became an adult that I learned that there were names for these things. And there was a better way to live my life than just the way that I had been. And there was a better way to live my life so I didn't feel the way that I did. Well, some days are really good days and some days are really bad days. I say bad as in I'm more limited in what I can do and how well I feel. And when I felt these things, when the symptoms came in, when the ailments acted up, I struggled. But there was a point in my life where I was having anxiety attacks. And immediately, as beautiful hearted as the doctors are, they want me to feel better. So they wanted to put me on meds. And at the time I was like the first 2 years of my 20s. And I really didn't want to be hooked on meds for the rest of my life, because I knew that once I experienced these symptoms, this would be something that I'd have to manage for the rest of my life. And not to say that medication doesn't have its place, it definitely does. But I didn't want to be living with a medication for the rest of my life if I hadn't tried managing my anxiety naturally and seeing if that would work first. So when I first started this, I was a little frustrated, and my mind was telling me, like, how are we going to start getting you on a path to get you feeling better when you have all these different choices and what you can eat and what you can do? And that was the beginning of my journey. It was just simplifying the mess and the noise and the data that was nutrition. I really just took my time to step back and think about what my priorities were, redefined health and what that meant for me first of all, and to really approach health in a way that I knew I could succeed with. And that was the biggest part, if not the biggest part of the battle. And I was at some points really scared. I've had quite a number of health scares. I knew that changing the way I ate, changing the way my mind worked, changing the way I held myself would lead the change in that, would lead me to the life that I knew I needed to live to reach what I needed to become, and to see the things and to be the things and to do the things that I wanted to do. I can't tell you how many thousands of hours I've searched on Google for the best nutrition to bodybuild. For a while I did bodybuilding and did some competitions, and I completely self-coached myself through those. I do have some formal training. After my first 2 bodybuilding competitions, I took a break, and life showed me, as one of my friends told me, sometimes in life, your calling finds you, it chooses you. You don't have to look for it. And I was pining and spending so much time, getting so unbelievably frustrated about not being where I thought I would be, not being at a place in my life that my peers were. And a lot of them were younger than me. And it really frustrated me because I felt like at some point I was standing still. I felt like I was standing still because at the earlier part of my college career, my mom got sick. And my mom was a single parent. And so me being the oldest child of a first generation family here in the States, my responsibility, my job description, I was always raised to be the backup parent, the stand-in parent, the catch-all child. That is built into who I am just from my upbringing. And it has fallen in line with my priorities. And it really led me down a different path than everyone else in college. And it was a very big struggle for me, not only just mourning my mom and stepping into her, the guardianship of my siblings eventually, but to reach success for me, to reach something that was mine. And that is a big part of my journey too. But I also have my degree. I have my BS from Grand Valley State University in Community Health Engagement. I finished my certification with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition as a health coach. And I guess this just goes to show what life is about. I set the intention to find my life's calling, but it found me. And what happened after that was just me learning that I just have to follow my passions, find what makes me feel like me, but 2.0, if that makes sense. And my mom getting sick was my wake-up call, because to that point, I was not living authentically. I was living in suppressed rage, honestly. I'm the oldest child, like I said, of 2 immigrants from the third world. There was a lot of domestic abuse growing up. Unfortunately, I've learned a lot of the blessings that I'm trying to teach others coming out of that trauma. Because my mom was really healthy until the point she got diagnosed. And when she got diagnosed, we learned that she wouldn't be here for more than another year. That was my wake-up call. And until that point, I started to rebel. I started to express my rage. I started behaving not like me. And even my stepfather pulled me aside a couple times before my mom got sick, asking if something else was going on because I wasn't myself. But the truth was, I didn't know who I was. I knew I was the oldest child. I knew I was the stand-in caregiver. I knew I was responsible, dependable, trustworthy. I knew I was all these things, but who am I to me? I didn't know that. And it wasn't until I started college and started breaking away from those ties that I struggled. And I went through a small period where I was depressed. I felt like just as I was working through that, my mom got sick. My mom is probably the most incredible person I will ever know. And I don't say that just because she's passed. And having stood in a lot of her role, I knew that I needed to live my life for me because I was growing in resentment. Up until a year ago, I was taking care of at least 2 people at a time. And I don't regret the decision I made. I don't want to say this to put a bad light on my family. My family is wonderful and I love them so much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sacrificed everything that I did during the years that I did. But I grew resentful because I wasn't living my life as authentically as I could have. So in 2012, 2 years after my mom passed, I started competing in bodybuilding shows. And I thought this would be great for me because I had started to eat clean and really get myself together to not feel those symptoms that I just talked about. And another couple of years later, well, 2016, so 4 years later, I competed in another round of bodybuilding shows with a good friend of mine. And it was during that time that I was prepping for those shows that I learned nutrition would play a bigger part in my life. Not only nutrition, but living a healthy lifestyle and as a whole. And that's where Mint Physique Nutrition came out of. And like I said, at that time, I was prepping for shows. I took on a couple friends as clients just for free. They already had shown me that they were committed to this lifestyle. They just needed that extra help, that extra knowledge that I had. And people after that kept asking me, like, how do I do this? If it came to working out or nutrition, people would come up and ask me. And I'm all about serving your audience. So how did I do this? And how did I get here? Honestly, simplifying processes, simplifying the path to somewhere is my gift. It's why I'm here today, sitting in front of you, talking into this lens, is I have the ability to look at something as a whole and understand how I can help someone make a healthier lifestyle work for them in their terms, in their definition. Because a lot of us are living inauthentically, especially after my mom passed. I had to take care of things I didn't even imagine I'd do and know existed. And when it came to coaching and nutrition, I researched Google probably thousands and thousands of hours during those prep years because I wanted to bring my best package and my best self to stage when my show date came. And it doesn't feel like work. Hours and days go by and I feel fulfilled because I know that everything will come together, and it has so far. And again, going back to, knowing how to look at something holistically and know how to break down the pieces to achieve a result is my gift. And nowhere is that truer than after my mom passed. I want everybody to feel like they understand their calling or know what their calling is or is living in their calling. There's nothing that I want more than that. And so today I am a health coach. I am building the foundation for my business to really serve people in a way that I needed to be served, or that I wish I could be served in the times, especially after my mom passed, so that people don't have to learn things as painfully as I did. And I know that it's human nature to an extent, need that trauma, need that wake up call to make the changes that we want. But if I can help one person in the ways that I needed to be helped, and especially in the years after my mom passed, I would define that as success. On the topic of success, I have created multiple things with my business. Not only have worked with private clients and coaching them, but also I created Fit Food Fix, a free cook-along meal prep series. And you can click the link in the description if you need to learn more about that. Prepping meals for 2 growing teenage boys was no small task, and how much they ate was incredible. But this brings me here to my YouTube channel. And this YouTube channel has been sitting on my heart for probably over 4 years, maybe closer to 5 or even 6. And I wanted to start this channel for so many reasons, and I don't think I understood what those reasons were for a while. And throughout that time, I allowed fear to stop me. But I also was dealing with a lot of things of transitioning out of the caregiving role to my family and to myself, more of myself outside of them. And I needed this period to have clarity, to come to a more peaceful and accepting and open mindset. And it has brought me here where I feel my best, I am feeling my highest, and I can show up for you being fully present. I live a very authentic life today, and I needed to reach this place of authenticity to be with you and to share with you what I've learned and the knowledge I've gained in the relatively short amount of time I've been alive. So things are looking up. There are still pieces of my life, of course, that I will need to work on. But I have trained my brain, just like my mom did, to be super resilient and super strong, and to understand when to play and when to work. She made me promise a lot of very challenging things, and one of them was to play more and to slow down. She always said, "Amy, slow down." But I'm in this for the long haul. I want people to make those lifestyle changes and make sure that they're long-term and as natural as possible. So today I know that no matter what comes up, I will overcome. So I knew that in order to connect with you on this more intimate, authentic level would mean that I would have to meet with you either through audio, which right now is the boom of the podcast, or through this YouTube channel. And since this YouTube channel has been sitting on my heart and mind for a good amount of time, I decided to go with the YouTube channel. Plus, it allows me to wear whatever pants I want because you can't see it. But beyond what I've shared with you, I am a friend, I am a girlfriend, I am a fur mom, I am my mom's daughter. And I'm proud of that. So I hope that you have gotten to know me from a different perspective, hopefully from a more multifaceted, holistic perspective. And I hope that we continue to get to know each other better, and that you're excited for the adventures and the fun and the growth that we're going to have together, because there's nothing more that I wish for. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you soon. Continue to grow, give yourself grace, and have some fun. We'll chat soon.